Guess who write tonight's show? Come on, guess.
Who write it?
Me! I write it.
Hey, it's time for the show! Just like it is every Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this week, it's a special time for the show. It's all peas! And so, what a great intro that was. Even the echo of the monitors is not disturbing peas on this fine Monday evening.
I don't like peas.
So,
Peas.
who do I got in the bullpen here with me? No one. There's just silence because there's no one here with peas tonight. It's just peas. Dramatic, intense missions are being undertaken at this very moment at hypercubego.com that have taken our beloved Dr. Argus Q Fox away from us on this fine Monday evening. So rather than do the regular "it's time for the show," and in order to support his away team mission, which cannot be disclosed at this time, it is so top secret. But rest assured, upon the return of our beloved leader, we will have a full reckoning of every minute detail of this mission, what it involved, the adventures he transpired undertaking this mission, and we will learn all about that in the weeks to come. So for tonight, you've just got the peas. We've got a couple of guests. We don't know if they're going to unmute their mics or not.
Yeah, well, Peas, you've been on your own mission recently, haven't you?
It's Cosmac from Cosmac's Commandos.
Hi, Peas.
How's it going, Cos?
Well, I'm doing okay, hanging in there.
Nice. I was going to do a different little thing, and I was going to try and play my theme song that Fidward Chuli had made for me. By the way, folks, if you have missed the smell of patchouli in the air, rest assured that Triology Soaps has solved your problems because they have come out with a new soap called Fid Patchouli. And that's right, folks, it's a fid-shaped soap with the fresh hippie scent of patchouli, and you can enjoy that for a mere, I don't know, $17,
Which part of Fid is
$18
it shaped like, Peas?
Well, that's left to your imagination.
I mean, I guess you could always get creative with a whittling knife.
Whittling knife. You could actually make we send the block, right? We don't want to impose or assume what you think that a Fid Patchouli soap should look like. So with each soap, you get a very small, like when you got ice cream as a kid and it had like a wooden spoon?
Sure, yeah, a little shitty wooden
right. Well, you take
tongue
that
depressor that you can sort of
spoon
scrape.
that's packaged in your Fid Patchouli soap folks, you can only get this from triologysoaps.com. If you could go into CVS and demand to speak to the manager and demand that they have Fid Patchouli soap there, but they won't be able to meet your demand because
It's just Fid Chuli soap.
Correct.
But it's spelled like patchouli, but it's just Fid Chuli. It's not Fid Patchouli.
Right.
It's Fid Chuli.
It's
spelled like patchouli, so it's Fid in the normal way, followed by Chuli spelled CHOULI.
And I think that's clever. I don't think that you're going to get clever wordplay like that from other podcasts. Do you, Cosmac?
I sure hope not.
Yeah, because that would be our niche. Back off, bitches. That's our thing.
Right.
Anyway, so we've talked about the great soaps that Triology has. They've got a peas themed soap.
Oh yeah, what's that one smell like?
It smells like I want to say, man, He told me
What's it
spearmint.
called?
It has spearmint in it. It does have a name. I don't like the name because I think it's derogatory towards my beloved Jeep, but it's called Cumsock, which some mean people on the internet started calling my
But how
Jeep.
is that
It hurt
connected
my
to your
feelings.
Jeep, though?
Because that's what they call my Jeep on the Facebook.
I thought your
It
Jeep
hurt
was
my
called
feelings.
Rover 9.
No, it's you know what? This is why I love you, because my Jeep is actually called my Explorer. My Ford is called Explorer 1, right? And the Jeep, obviously, because we go exploring and find routes to go with the Jeep, then we recon that in the Jeep. So the Jeep's name, of course, is Recon 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, another great soap that they've got at Triology Soap is Eucalyptus Lavender. And that one has a picture of Ferd himself, the maker of Triology Soaps. He may not want to know that. He may want to stay behind the scenes.
He's a handsome boy. Just
He is
having
a
his
handsome
picture
boy.
is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
But you also get the soap into the bargain.
Yeah. And this soap is a eucalyptus lavender
Is
scent.
Ferg in here? I think Ferg was listening in.
Here's the thing, dear friends. If you need to get clean, you need to go to Triology Soaps, and that's triologysoaps.com. Each individual bar of soap is 4+ net ounces of glycerin-based soap. I've been using the same soap for over 6 months now, and it is still about half size, so they're quite economical as well. You're not going to get a better soap than this. And like we've gone on and on about the different flavors and styles, and each week they're releasing more and more soap. Eventually, they're just going to have to stop because they will have made enough soap for every man, woman, and child in the continental United States.
It's good soap. I've been using it too.
It is
Pete.
good soap, yeah.
And you know what? You can use it on more than just your body, your filthy body. You can also put it on your face and shave your filthy hairs off with it.
You mentioned that last week, and I thought that was so innovative of you. I mean, that's
It's great.
really
I didn't realize it, but I asked Ferg, the creator of Triology Soaps, and he said that it's a glycerin soap and it won't dry out your face. And lo and behold, it works great.
That's fabulous. Well, again, folks, dear friends, for all your bathing needs, please think of triologysoaps.com first. Now, that being out of the way, and we've paid some bills, I think it's important for us to discuss what's going on in the world today. Today, I was chastised by a little 16-year-old girl at the United Nations for destroying her future. This angered me a little bit. I didn't think it was really my fault. What did you think, Cosmac? Do you know who I'm talking about? She
In
looks
New York?
remarkably like a... It might have been New York.
You were in New York City?
I was.
Why didn't you stop by? I live right near there.
I don't like Jersey that much. To go over the river, under the tunnel.
I'm not on that. I know. I'm not in that part of Jersey though. That part is shitty. I'm in the slightly less shitty part of New Jersey. That's just to the southwest of that.
Well, there's hardly any fecal percentage to my part of New Jersey at all.
Yeah. Here's a fun New Jersey fact for all the listeners.
What is it?
The highest point in Atlantic County is the landfill.
Is that true?
The highest point above sea level in all of Atlantic County, yeah.
That is so beautiful. You know what I did this weekend?
No, I don't. Well, actually, I do, but I'm going to say no
Oh,
because
that's good,
it's the radio
'cause that's
show.
good
We need to
radio.
get you to. Yeah, exactly. It's good radio, Pete.
That's good radio. So
And you're a handsome, good
handsome
radio
guy.
boy. So tell me
So
what you
what-
did this weekend.
I stormed Area 51, sort of.
You alone?
Yeah. No, I took carrots with me. I'm not going to do these things by myself. Who's going to take care of my bail?
Did you take the Jeep?
I didn't take the Jeep because it's like a 2.5-hour drive there, and having scouted the area out before, we realized there was nothing really Jeep worthy to do out there. So we took
Right,
the
it's all just sort of
Explorer.
a flat desert area with some mountains around it, right?
Yeah. That's exactly right. It's the elevation is about 5,500 feet, which is
Right.
about 3,000 feet higher than where Las Vegas sits. So you're a little bit up in the high desert.
Oh, I know all about this, Pease. I've been training in Microsoft Flight Simulator for the bombing runs on your house.
Oh, very nice. That's good to know. Did they finally release that mod to the game? Bomb
Yeah,
Pease's house?
I've been practicing all week. We're getting ready for the big event.
The nice event. The handsome event. Now, are you going to bombard me with postal boxes, or is this like real munitions, real IEDs? I should
You know,
start
postal
building
boxes, dildos, whatever comes to hand.
Those are, here's the thing, folks. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable if you feel it's necessary to send a dildo as a joke or a lark to peas. Because I've got a dishwasher, I can throw them right in there. Carrots loves getting them, and if you're confused as to where to send your used marital aids, don't forget it's always 6428 Dobie Peak Drive, Las Vegas, Nevada 89108. We're hoping.
Don't worry about the expense of those dildos, P's. The ones we're planning to use are munitions grade dildos, so they're fairly inexpensive.
Well, I'm sure that Carrots will thank you guys beforehand. You know, like, that's just what I needed. An explosive phallic marital aid. Shit, maybe that'll be able to do what I haven't been able to do for the last 30 years.
What's that, Piece?
Pleasure my woman.
Wow, that's an awfully intimate confession to relate to our listeners.
Sad too. Sometimes I feel bad about it.
Sad.
Sometimes I feel bad about it, but then like we just make love again, and then 30 seconds later I'm in sleeping, so I'm like, it's good, and I'm fine with it. I seem okay.
You seem well adjusted, Piece.
I do seem well adjusted.
And very handsome.
So one thing I wanted to notice about this Area 51 storming, first of all, nobody stormed anything, okay? The night that it was supposed to happen was Friday morning at 2 a.m. in the morning, which is a stupid time to ask people to storm something because everybody's still working. You'd have to take all of Friday off and half of Thursday just to get there to storm the thing. So, but I guess 100 people or so showed up at the actual gate. But what happened was a lot of people decided they were going to make a music event out of this, and it was supposed to be a 3-day music concert. So we decided to go out Saturday and get there about 12, and we'll figure, hey, we'll sit there and we'll listen to the music, we'll people watch, we'll do some interviews for the show, and we'll have a pretty good time up there. So we started heading out there, and when we got the first part, you gotta understand, in Nevada, to get to the extraterrestrial highway, you have to drive about 2.5 hours, or maybe an hour and 45 minutes up State Route 93.
Is that the actual name of the highway?
It is the actual name of the highway. And this will take you up to Great Basin, but it takes you to this city called Hyco. And in Hyco is the Alien Research Center. And if you peruse the internet or look at or just look that up, you see that's a place that's got a big giant tin man, 30 feet up in the air, and he's got some tchotchkes and stuff there. But that guy was going to have a music festival. And Friday night, he had a couple DJs playing stuff, but he was also the guy that was trying to charge people $170 a night for an RV spot to camp at, like $60 a night for a camp out, like a tent camp. And he thought like thousands of people were going to come. Well, when we showed up Saturday, there was about...
because to be honest, I was surprised that even the few dozen that I've seen in pictures, I was surprised even that many showed up.
We almost didn't go, but... At the last minute, see, I gotta backtrack a little bit because the news has gotten us all fucked up. Okay, so a kid makes a kid, 20-something kid, millennial, whatever you want to call him. He makes a little joke on a Facebook page.
That's ageist, Pease.
It is ageist.
You're a terrible ageist. But handsome, but very handsome.
I would segue into something else, but it's not important right now. So anyway, it turns out to be this big joke, and there's 2 million people that sign up for it, and then people start to take it seriously, even though the whole thing started in Facebook, okay? And nothing in Facebook is ever fucking real or materializes the way it's supposed to. Nonetheless, people start to panic in Nevada. And this will segue into my later part of the story about the police presence there. But they start to panic, and they start to do all this and that. Well, there's only 2 businesses within 150 miles of Area 51, and one is in Rachel, which is right by the base, and that's called the Little Alien Inn. And then there's the place in Hyco that I just told you about. So
I think it's a pun, Piece. I think it's called the Little Alien Inn.
Right, that's correct. You're absolutely right.
It's not the Little Alien Inn. Again, like earlier, you were having trouble with the
I do have troubles
with the fid patchouli.
Yeah. But
I guess you're just like pun deficient. I guess I shouldn't mock you for that.
Mock away.
But I will anyway.
So at the like a couple of weeks before the event's actually going to take place, they decide they're going to turn it into a concert. Okay. And like a week before the event, the guy that made the web page or the Facebook page, it's not even has the benefit of being a web page. It was just a Facebook page. He backs out of the whole thing. because he's like, oh, this is going to turn into that island concert where everybody got screwed. So he somehow gets some sponsorship or whatever, and they do an event Thursday night here downtown in Las Vegas. Okay, so right away the message is getting skewed. People think that's the event. Well, the woman in Rachel that owns the Little Ale Inn, she decides she's going to go ahead. She pays like $30,000-$40,000 in permit fees and all this stuff. She's going to have a 3-day concert there. Well, the guy in Heiko decides, I'm going to have my own concert. So you got these two businesses deciding they're going to have 2 3-day concerts 60 miles away from each other, but 180 miles away from any other civilization in the world. Okay. And there's a third event that's actually taking place in Las Vegas. So that kind of skewed the message about there being a musical festival there. Nonetheless,
but nobody, to your knowledge, actually got through the front gate of Area 51.
Well, that's not actually true. One woman, Friday night at 2:00, she stepped across the line where the stop thing is, and they immediately arrested her, and she got a ticket and was released on her own recognizance immediately. But then everybody interviews her, and she's, oh, it's a form of social disobedience, and by the way, I'm running for president. So she's a crazy person. Another guy got arrested because he's out there at the gate behind.
No, just because she's running for president doesn't make her crazy.
Come on. Yes, it does. It most certainly does. In this day and age, anybody that runs for president is crazy.
Oh, maybe.
There's a big clown shortage right now in all the major circuses in the United States because all the clowns have gone into politics, and there's a huge shortage in the actual clowning market.
I did not know that. Who told you that?
It is. I read it on the internet today. I just got a fax from the Hypercube Go submarine, Hypercube Go 1, from Dr. Fox, where he told me I did steal that joke. So, nonetheless, it's still a funny joke. But so here's the thing.
What joke?
Exactly. So there's 3 concerts taking place in the
joke?
middle. Yeah, that's the way we're going with it.
I really don't understand.
One concert has already taken place on Thursday night in Las Vegas. The other 2 people, and one in Heiko and one in Rachel, are throwing their own concerts. Now, Friday night, the news goes out there, and they show at the one place like 40 people at the Heiko place rocking out to the DJ, right? Well, it's supposed to be a 3-day thing till Sunday. Arby's has sent a big food truck there with specialty sandwiches and shakes and all that stuff. So Friday night, that's kind of bust. They go down to Rachel because I do change window for the college, so I'm up at like 3:00 in the morning. I'm watching the news, and there's about 1,000 people. No, there's actually about 3,000 people at the Rachel event. But and they're talking about, hey, the bands are done for tonight. We're going to go all through the day tomorrow. So Carrots and I decide again, we'll go in Explorer 1, and we'll drive up there and we'll check it out. And if not, we'll people watch. We'll do some interviews for the show. And we'll listen to some cool music, right? So we get to the first place, the place in Heiko, the Alien Research Center. And there is at most maybe, I want to say 200 people there. But most of them are just parked in the lower lot. Everybody that's camped has kind of pulled away, and they're tearing the stage down. So I start walking around, and all that you see there are the disillusioned capitalists, vendors, who had probably spent $3,000 or $4,000 to buy this stand at the event, and they got all their wares, these dated stickers, alien stock, 2019, and nobody's buying it. I mean,
wow.
Nobody's buying it. That's all it's there is vendors. Nobody's
it sounds
buying.
like X Day.
It does sound remarkably like X Day, except at X Day, had there been no bands on the stage, enough subgeniuses would just gone on there.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So we're not dependent on.
Did you do it? Did you try to keep the festival going all by yourself?
No, well, so we decided, hey, we knew from the news the night before this was the lesser of the 2 festivals. So we walk into the research center, and they're selling the special Budweiser alien beer that Budweiser had made for the event. And here's the thing.
What?
Yeah, they got these 12 packs of green Budweiser canned beer with welcome to our space alien.
See, this is the thing, though, is that this thing was such a popular meme that there was no way it could possibly go down as anything other than a giant
disaster,
commercial disaster.
Right. So here's the thing. This guy has spent all this money, built a stage, thought he was going to make all this money with RV camps and all that stuff. Nobody really shows up for it except the vendors who aren't selling anything, so they're not happy. Arby's sent this huge semi-tractor truck food truck with special redacted on rye, ET sliders, all these specialty foods that they had. And there's 5 or 6 other food trucks trying to sell food, but there's nobody buying it, so Arby's just starts giving their food away. I walk by their thing just to do some B shots of it. And the lady's like, would you like something? I'm like, no, we're good. She goes, it's free. And I'm like, well, there's nothing an Irishman likes more than something for free. So we got a redacted on rye, and we got a tea slider and some curly fries and a couple of those shakes. And we're like, well, fuck. So far, the day has worked out good for us. No
alien.
Yeah, no alien. I'm starting to feel bad for the vendors because back in the day, this is exactly the kind of thing that I would have made a bunch of t-shirts for, or had, like, I was going to buy 100 Bob pamphlets to pass out. And I'm so glad I didn't do that because there was really nobody to give them to. And so all these vendors had, they just, you could see their broken dreams. I was going to make so much money at this, and now I don't know how I'm going to make rent. So we decided to drive up to Rachel. It's 60 miles up the road.
Like,
These guys did.
Who could possibly have thought? Like, I was telling you, Pease, like, what did you think when you first heard about this, like, several weeks ago when people first started talking about this Area 51 thing? Because I immediately thought nobody's ever going to show up at Area 51, like, maybe 1 or 2 people, but it's not going to be... Like, I was shocked that as much happened...
As it did, right?
It happened, yeah. So what did you think, Pease? Like, what was your initial reaction?
So I thought, well, you know, stranger things have happened. It could be one of those things. It's the end of the season. It's a lot cooler in Rachel than it is here. I don't think anybody's going to go, but it's also one of those kind of things where, you know, this is how Burning Man started in a sense, you know, 25 years ago, a bunch of people burning shit on a beach. Some festivals, in the back of my mind, I was hoping for some kind of spontaneous Woodstock thing to happen, but I knew that it wouldn't. That was my dream, you know. I was like, oh, but I knew it wouldn't. And
well, with the hippies and the soldiers singing hand in hand, kind of.
Just thought all of us punks, rockers, metalheads, boondogs, pop toes, beavers, greasers, wannabeers would all gather together in the harmony of for the alien brothers.
Conquer a high security military base with love and friendship and all that bullshit.
But
God,
I thought, hey,
sounds like a Ralph Bakshi movie.
People would show up and there would a party would spontaneously erupt. Now, I also knew that wasn't going to happen, but I also knew that this is just the kind of story to draw out enough fucking freaks that it might be worth my time to go out there. Now, just like them vendors,
was it?
I bought it. I think it was.
Was it?
It was.
Was it?
You know, I say it wasn't, but it was because I bought like extra batteries for my GoPro. I got some, memory chips for my camera. I spent like $50 to get ready for this, so I wouldn't run out of energy. I'd be, just no matter what happened, I was going to do it. So anyway, getting back to the story, we go to Rachel, which is about 60 miles away. It's an hour, right? About halfway, and here's the whole time we're going up this road. This 2 hours. This is a road that no one ever travels. You could drive on this road for an hour and maybe see one car coming the other way, from you.
And then you keep driving for another hour, and then you see the same car pass you going the same direction.
And it's funny you would say that.
You ever had that happen, Pease?
I did this weekend because for every person there, they probably had a police officer. And I'm not joking because we passed 3 armored transport SWAT carriers getting there that were leaving the event, okay? But there were still 2 of them there from Clark County. Because here's the thing. About halfway there, we come across, what is this? There's like a whole town here of RVs and shit. And as we get closer, it's fire trucks, helicopters, police cars, ambulances. And there's literally... There's got to be 75 vehicles.
So how much do you think the government spent on this ridiculous beam?
I'm getting to that because this segues into... So there's a huge presence, right? The thing to remember about this, they were so prepared to bring down the heel of their boot on people that showed up there. It was unbelievable. When I tell you that there was a cop or maybe two for every person that's there, and everybody knows that Pease is prone to hyperbole and all that shit. I'm not really exaggerating in this case. You would not have believed it. At the gate, because we actually went to the gate and checked it out, there was no less than 20 police officers from 4 different agencies. And that's not counting the military
Well,
people.
you know, Pease, they say it's most effective to speak softly and carry a big stick, especially when dealing with a bunch of internet nerds.
Yeah. In all fairness, the cops were really light-handed. They didn't make a big deal, but had there been a big exodus towards to try and get in that gate or something like that, it would have been a massacre.
Well, that's why they did it, because they wanted to make it clear that wasn't going to happen.
So anyway, we get to Rachel, and there's only now the night before they said there was 3,000 people. We get there, and again, it seems like everybody has left but the vendors. There's nobody playing at the stage, and we go to the Little Ale Inn, and the woman that owns it, we've seen the checks on the internet. She's already spent like 60 grand just to get the permits and to put up the porta potties and all this stuff for her little town of Rachel. It's only got 50 people. Yeah, well, it's only got 50 people in this town, and 49 of them didn't want anything to fucking do with this concert or all these people coming to this thing.
As any sane person would.
Yeah. If the only reason to move to Rachel and be one of those 50 people is because you're sick and tired of all this shit everywhere else. Because there's no cell service, there's no gas station, there's nothing there but like 3 big alfalfa farms. So she's pissed off all her neighbors. A couple news teams are interviewing her. I start to try and record it with my camera, and I get told no recording. And I'm like, what the fuck is all this? And you're outside, go fuck yourself. But I didn't want to get into the whole you're in public, I can do what I want thing. So I just listened. And she's basically apologizing to her neighbors. She's announcing that the event's been closed, that there'll be no more bands, and the whole thing's a bust. So and again, this is kind of what we expected to kind of happen. But as we drive away from this, because we're going to go check out the back gate and try and find some freaks or something. As we're driving out of the lot, they've got the whole, like, for a mile of the street, you can't get on the freeway. So you've got to drive by all of these vendors, like 50 vendors. There's nobody there except for these vendors with their little buttons and their dated T-shirts and all this stuff that's going to be worthless tomorrow. And they're all like, hi. And we're like, hi, dude, so sorry. You fucking probably can't pay your rent. Your wife's got to be a stripper now, but good for you. And that was pretty much it. And then we start to drive home. And here's the thing. I've already reported it at 12:30. There's like 100 people at the first place. At 1:30, there's maybe 1,000 people. So a third of the people have already left. Okay. And everybody else is packing up and leaving. As we're leaving the area, and you can only drive into this and drive out, we pass like 20 fucking undercover cars, marked cars from the Department of Forestry, from Homeland Security, Clark County, Lincoln County, Nye County. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys know that there's no event now. You know that there's no people here to justify the hundreds of thousands of dollars and over, like every.
But it could be a feint, Pease. We've got to keep the troops deployed until.
I guess that's what those fucking skinhead bald. Don't get me started on cops. Anyway, the point being is, I feel like these guys used this opportunity to milk a bunch of overtime for themselves. They could have wrapped up.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Now, what's hitting the news today is the government here in Nevada wants to sue the guy who made the joke on Facebook with the page for all of the expenses that they had to spend to make sure.
Well, that's just obvious nonsense.
It is obvious nonsense, but that's the kind of nonsense that the state of Nevada would do. If it had been a huge success, they would have gone for that money for the people that threw the party at Heiko and the people that threw it in Rachel. Because both those things were a bust, and they know those people don't have any more money. They probably spent money they didn't have to get the permits to do it. Now they're going to, well, we need to get this money back. When the reality is, they could have handled this whole thing with, I want to say, 20 cops. 20 cops. I've been to concerts that had 10,000 people on them, and they had less police than this. And it was. I've got pictures. I've got some videos. I'm going to throw. just to show you how many cops there were. But it was just crazy. It was like, really, you guys really felt this was necessary? Or I just think it's a lot of way for a lot of those guys to get like 2 days of overtime, which is
so. Do you think it's possible that like some police agency was actually initially responsible for this?
What for the
initial meme? Yeah.
No, I don't.
How would you know?
I don't. That's a good theory, Cosmac. It's just as good as flat Earth or hollow Earth, but I don't think that happened. But it could have. We should start saying it did.
I think it did. I think the evidence is clear.
You know what? You've convinced me.
The Area 51 conspiracy.
Yep.
Duh.
You've convinced me as well, Cosmac, with that well thought out theorem and the evidence that you presented to uphold it. So I think we should just all start saying everybody knew all along that it wasn't going to be anything, and this is just a way for these government agencies to make more money off our great government's teat. Anyway, kids, we went a little long with this story, and I'm sorry. I think it's time to break for a song.
Well, save the apologies for the end, Peas.
I don't know if we do that on this show. We were going to do like a pilot of the Peas in a Pod show, but there were some technical difficulties, and I don't think we got it off in time. We might do that another time, maybe next week. But for right now, we're going to break to a song. As always, our favorite song is The Kinks, I'm a 21st Century Man. And we're going to cut to that, and I'll see you guys after the commercial and music break. I think it's going to be a good song, Cosmac. Green beer, and you got Arby's food trucks, and you figure everybody's going to be in and out of your store buying everything. The guy has the same stupid square register that he has when 1 or 2 people go in there a day, and one guy trying to process this line of like 20 people trying to buy their 12-pack of the space beer. And I'm thinking, dude, what were you thinking? If it had gone the way you wanted, you would have had to have 12 registers, pounding out all these sales and all this shit. It's like people thought of some of the stuff and then didn't think of how am I gonna get the money from the people? I've only got this one little bullshit square register that takes 10 minutes for each transaction. None of that shit was thought out. It was amazing to me. And this is the one guy who's crying, oh, nobody came, and that lady screwed me by doing another concert, and then Las Vegas did a concert, so we all got screwed. But they weren't prepared. Say it had been a big event, and let's say 5,000 people. Let's double the numbers that we've got. 6,000 people had shown up. They weren't prepared to deal with that many people when it came to people buying their wares or people doing, unless you had a bunch of cash, even then still you'd have to wait in line while this guy is running people's credit cards through a square, waiting for his modem in the middle of nowhere to dial up the credit card. I mean, each transaction was like 10 minutes. And I think, okay, have 3 people doing that. You hired people for security and stuff. Hire a couple more, people to take your money. But you didn't think of that. And again, it's got companies like Arby's Arby's, I would say, probably spent $40,000 sending that truck out there with all that food, and then eventually wound up giving it away. And I'm sure that's because you can't bring all that food out there and then take it back and sell it somewhere else. It's like it's been there for a couple of days. You have to get rid of it. So that was the whole thing here in Nevada. It was a big news, our story, for about a month. I think that the news teams in the town kind of also screwed those people because they were calling the event off before it was really off. The scattering of the concerts becoming one big concert into 3 shitty, mediocre concerts wasn't really reported accurately. And again, I don't think people realize Nevada's a desolate state, but this part of Nevada, it's a 2.5-hour drive to get there from anywhere, and that's at best. That's if you're in Las Vegas. If you're in Utah or you're in California, you're talking a day and a half to drive to this place. Now, there was a couple people I was impressed with, although they, of course, got screwed too. There was a guy there with a big, those construction trucks that have the gas tanks in them so they can fill up diesels and stuff, like you see them on Gold Rush. Guy had it's like a pickup truck, but it's got like 3 big tanks in the back.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, he had a little sign, diesel and gas available, because again, there's no gas for like 170 miles going west and 70
Right.
miles going east. So he thought he was going to make a big killing selling gas for $10 a gallon or something like that. But again, everybody else was smart enough to get gas, and there wasn't enough people there to have enough stupid people that had fucked themselves by not buying gas for this guy to make any money. And everybody, you saw these trucks filled boxes of t-shirts, and you're like, wow, that guy really thought he was going to sell a shitload of t-shirts. You know, I think we should look to see little children in Africa when we see them dancing and stuff for the TV cameras. We'll start seeing these shirts on those kids, just like we see.
There will
the
be like
Super
over the
Bowl.
next few years, there'll be an influx of these remaindered Area 51 commemorative T-shirts.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you know this, but
I
you know,
stormed Area 51,
when they have a
November
Super Bowl,
2019.
when they have a Super Bowl, they make a bunch of T-shirts that say both teams won, so that minutes after the thing's done, they've got the right team shirt that we won. Well, the ones that didn't win, all those shirts go to Africa and Indonesia.
Well, at least they don't just burn them.
No, I agree. They don't just burn them, but so you'll see kids with like LA Rams, winner of the whatever Super Bowl, and you're like, I think they won that. But it's free clothes when you've got like 3 T-shirts and 2 shorts to your name in Africa. You're not going to say no to a shirt that you can't read anyway.
So tell me more about the Peas show, Peas.
So the Peas show, and I think we'll be better prepared to produce this, and it's going to be a pilot. We've talked about this. We talked about it almost a year ago to the day. But with all the top-notch comedy and production values that we put into this show, it doesn't leave enough time for the Hypercube team to really focus on a second show right now. So anyway, it's Peas in a Pod, and what is it's like a 30-minute, 45-minute podcast. It's kind of going to be loosely based on a radio version of an old Johnny Carson Tonight Show or an old David Letterman, kind of or Merv Griffinish, or even Mike Douglas afternoon TV or dinosaur variety show where we got a cool little theme song. I come on, do a little rant about what's ever popular, and then I interview somebody, an artist or somebody that's big in the mythology of the subgenus, or maybe even a real celebrity. I don't know. And maybe we would do some skits and bits, but we never really got down to the bones of it. That's just the framework. Well, what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and put together the pilot for that. When you're a kid and you're watching Happy Days, and like Happy Days starts with like the regular.
No, I didn't watch that when I was a kid, Peas.
Well, you're a little younger than me. But anyway, the point being is in the middle of a great show like Happy Days, all of a sudden it's like there's all these new characters, and it turns out they're really doing a pilot for a spinoff. Mork and Mindy came off that way, off of Happy Days. Reverend and
What?
Shirley came off that way. From
Mork
Happy
and Mindy
Days.
was a Happy Days thing?
Absolutely. Mork and Mindy was a Happy Days spinoff
What the
after the great battle between Mork and the Fonz. The thumb
What?
versus the finger. You
You
don't know
didn't
about
realize
Happy Days?
that Mork first appeared on Happy Days?
I don't know anything about Happy Days
Oh my
or
God.
Mork and Mindy.
Oh, Scalpod, you're joining us.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks,
it's obvious that
Scalpod.
you don't know anything about it.
But so anyway, the point what we're going to do is we're going to open time for the show like a regular show, and then all of a sudden it would be the Peas theme song, and then we would do a quick little pilot of Peas in a Pod, and then we would see if our sponsors, stamps.com, triologysoaps.com, Stork and Grinsel, volcanomakers.com, all those guys, would they give us even more money than they're already giving us? Oh my God, the riches that we get from this podcast. I don't even know how I'm going to spend all riches. I really don't. We've bought a submarine. We have the complex. We're actively able to infiltrate Wisteria and destroy the Fid Chuli compound that he utilized to spy on us on X days he didn't attend. So, we've put the money to good use, but we could always use more. And speaking of needing more money, do you like the show? Do you not like the show? Would
I
you
like
it
the
to
show,
go
yeah.
on? Would
Yeah,
you like
sure.
it to stop?
Well,
There's an
maybe.
easy way to make either one of these things happen. And they both involve the same thing. They
Giving
both
us
involve
money.
giving us money. We'll take money to stop, and we'll take money to keep going. How do you give us money, Peas, do you say? Well, it's easy. We have a Patreon account, which is easily accessible from our hypercubego.com webpage. And you'll see we have various levels, latex level, ultra carbon uranium level, and each level of contribution gets you more time for the show, swag, and personalized what, Cosmac? I know I'm stuck. Personalized show for you.
It's on the
The tip of my damn tongue.
I just don't remember, Peas. I just don't remember.
It's the first swear there.
I can't be expected to remember the blurb for the fucking Patreonies, Peas. That's your job. I'm just here to officiate Is It a Band and ask you questions, so it seems like you're not the only one talking.
Well, that's good, because so far, this was much more challenging than I thought it was going to be. Just a second as I pull up my hypercube go.com interface, where we're talking about, and here's the thing, kids, if you go here, there's a big, on the right hand side there, Patreon button you can click, and that will explain everything that you need. And we've also got a cool Discord chat that's on all week. The guys from the show will interact with you. People we don't even like go to the Discord channel, but it's all there. But here's the thing you need to know. The thing that you're going to find out here is Hypercube Labs is really now, for the first time ever, teaching people the secrets of the universe. They're teaching them the secret of what is hypercubism, what is a hypercube, all different kinds of things. And if you remember, a couple weeks ago, I read a little bit from the page and talked a little bit about it, but I think I'm going to close off tonight's show before we go to a song. Or you know what? Here's the thing. Let's go to a song, and we come back. I'm going to say, sound too good to be true? Read on for the basics of hypercubism. So for the only time ever, you'll be able, without even going to the webpage, to hear what's going on in the world. And maybe for once, have the wool pulled over your own eyes and have your own reality manifested as it is your destiny, as you've always known it deep inside. You are special. You are not like the others. You are a hypercube recruit. We'll be right back. Unstoppable machine of influence. Your friends won't recognize you. I don't recognize my friends. Your family may not even believe your incredible transformation. Your employers will cower with your every step while seeking every chance to empower you further. Your enemies will become non-existent, as even the most deadly of foes will seek you out for gratuitous retribution of the malicious deeds perpetuated against you. Well, that sounds really exciting, kids, but what is a hypercube? What is the hypercube? Well, you may be surprised to find that the world is not exactly what you think it is. Humanity itself, friends, you can't let this out. It's an algorithm. Perpetuated by an algorithm. Perpetuated by an algorithm. Perpetuated by it's a thing. Perpetuated by a vast multidimensional blockchain running an infinite number of parallel simulations of the universe. That is the hypercube. Each instance of Earth in the chain varies from the one to the next, where different outcomes have been achieved by the insertion of specific variables by external forces. Hypercube Laboratories has determined, through years of exhaustive research, this didn't come to us overnight. This is years of people researching that several variables have brought about a situation that is potentially cataclysmic. This would be the rupture variable principle. And folks, if you want to learn more about the rupture variable principle, it's so easy. You just need to go to hypercube.com and you can see the enlightenment pour off the webpage into your nether brain, into your sub-regions, and it will grab you by your nethers and braid your pubics, and you then will know what is hypercubism. Hey folks, that's pretty much all we've got for a show tonight. I'm going to apologize for a couple things. I'd like to apologize for Dr. Argus Q Fox not being here, but I can't. As I told you before, he is on a secret hypercubego.com mission, and we can't even discuss it, but rest assured, in the weeks ahead, Argus Q Fox will be here with a detailed. You thought my story about Area 51 was long and didn't go anywhere? Wait till we hear what Fox has been up to in our submarine Hypercube Go 1. Folks,
Piercing new barriers of boredom.
exactly. Even I, the Peas, don't know what he's up to. He says he can't tell me. And I'm like 7th or 8th in line.